As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
There's nothing more predictable in life than the unexpected. Lightning will always strike. Hail will fall on roofs. Fortunately, there's AAA. AAA has been helping members stay prepared for over 100 years. So when unusual storms, fallen debris, or sudden leaks happen, you'll be covered. Check, check, and check. Get the home and auto insurance you need by talking with a AAA insurance agent today. Visit AAA.com/insurance or stop by your local AAA store.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Hello, is this thing on? Hello, this is Cyber Wars. What's up, Orty?
EMF? Wow. Wow.
I didn't even tell you it was coming.
You know what? Not only did I didn't know it was coming, you got the part with Andrew Dice Clay. That you hit it. So, hi, what's going on?
Hi. Yeah. I mean, not much happening. Nothing in the news. It's been really...
No, we're kind of reaching.
Really boring. It's making me long for the days of lockdown, but they're back, so I have to miss them.
Everything old is new again.
Sigh.
As is evidenced by our intro this week.
Exactly. Yeah, so what happened was, I was looking through, so I've been cleaning out closets and stuff, because I've been in this house for a few years. It's time to start doing that. And when I picked up an external drive, I looked at it and thought to myself, this is the drive with my music on it. So, of course, I grabbed it, and before the show, I said, I'm going to go get something old. But I wanted it to be upbeat because, it has to wake me up. So I can,
No, definitely.
So,
let the bumper music be all chill.
Yeah, it is.
Intro music has got to be lit.
But bumper's chill. So, so how you been?
I'm doing good. I really am. Just kind of been busy. Really busy.
Yeah.
Lots of, one of the topics we're going to be talking about later, gangs getting together and exploiting the fuck out of things. And been quite the uptick in the last week or two with malware and viruses and, so lots of that going on in my life. How about you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. But it really does feel a little lockdown-y to me, right? I mean, it's another one of those 2020 surreal moments when you're like, wait, did that just happen? Right? am I awake? Am I dreaming this? And, it's one of those rare times when your dreams and your nightmares are actually more normal than your everyday. Right? So, yeah. So, yeah, it's been that kind of week.
It's like you wake up and you go, whew, man, wow, 2020 was weird. No, you're actually in 2020. Ah!
Right, exactly. I just dreamed it was 2020, and that was like the weirdest year. Yeah, it still is. So, there's no shortage of that this entire... What's today?
Grandpa, tell me about 2020 pounds shot. Well, it all started with this guy eating this fucking bat.
Yeah. Yeah, it all started with the bat.
Right.
Exactly. So it's the year of the rat.
Yeah, well, bats are just flying rats.
Indeed. So
Schwantz.com.
But in general, right? So it just started with the bat. And in general,
right.
The entire year has been a rat kind of year. It has been the year of the rat. Undoubtedly. So let's get into the show.
Yeah, and as Chad said, Ozzy is innocent this time.
Oh, yeah, Ozzy is innocent this time. It was not Ozzy. It was some other bat eater.
Right.
So, yeah, so let's get into this.
All right.
What do you want to go for? Oh, we got to do the Pluto TV one first.
You want to do Pluto first? All right.
Yeah, because this is...
So, okay, if you're not familiar with what Pluto is a fast. It is a free ad support. Well, sometimes free. There is some of the plans do have there are premium plans where you can get ad free. But anyway, it is an online streaming television service. It's kind of like, cable TV or satellite, but it's on, you can get it on your smart devices, your TVs and everything, and it's like any other streaming service. Well, 3.2 million Pluto TV user records were stolen during a data breach this year.
And they are on the darknet.
And they're on the darknet.
And they are free. No, the best part, they're free.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Yeah, they're not even, bidding on these things. It's just like, oh, here you go, data dump.
Uh-huh, yeah. So, and I had said on a previous show, something about putting things on the darknet for free. And when I said it, I thought, but that's dumb. Who would do that? Who would have a data load and put it on the darknet for free? Why put it on the darknet at all? Why, risk it for no money? But evidently, it really does happen. Obviously, I thought it did, but it really does.
Depending upon, this breach, okay, this is an older breach. This is from October 12th, 2018. Who would do this? A fame fag that's trying to get into
because they all are. Exactly.
Yeah, but somebody who's trying to get into a higher tier of the ransomware as a service we're going to be talking about later.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
you can't just walk in without a resume. You have to have a resume. Got to have some skills.
Yeah, it's sorry, I just got the whole interview process thing from Monty Python popped into my head with the good night, ding, 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 ding. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, you got to have a resume. You don't just get a job in a ransomware service unless you have one. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is a 2-year-old breach. But if you have Pluto TV and you haven't changed your password in 2 years, you might want to do that. And this just goes to, we talk about it all the time, building dossiers on people. So that way, the dossier becomes more valuable. If you show more of their accounts and more of their consistent use of the same password over and over, you don't care about their Pluto TV account, but their Coinbase account you may have interest in.
Yeah.
For just brute forcing your way into, Actually, I think Coinbase requires 2FA now. Yeah, I know mine's 2FA.
Yeah, I think that the more passwords you have on somebody, the better off you are if you're going to try to figure out their stuff.
Yeah, if you're not brute forcing it, you can make an educated guess. All right, so they've used their dog's name 4 times here, but in that one instance, they changed the A to a 4. So let's go that.
You can actually, I mean, you can get Python to choose certain parts of a word and put it together in different ways. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if you have Pluto TV, change your password. But your data is already out there.
Yeah.
It's just a feel-good thing. That we tell you every week, your data's out there. Somebody's just making a bigger dossier on you. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, and I mean, but we're talking to the 007s that it wouldn't be a 007, but because nobody knows his real name, right?
Right.
Yeah, like if you work for NASA, you should be listening to what we're telling you because somebody's building a portfolio on you. But otherwise, nobody's like that focused on you. You'll be a random victim.
Yeah, you're the one who all of a sudden has a PayPal credit card opened in your name, like a whole account opened in your name, and a whole bunch of gift cards bought with it.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that again this week. And you know what? I'm going to say this. PayPal, their fraud division, they're really good. You don't have to jump through a lot of hoops with them.
Yeah.
I had a client who had a credit card opened in a PayPal account and a credit card opened in their name. And yeah, their debt resolution and their fraud department, they're really good. It's not something that an 80-year-old woman could navigate, but with me being able to talk to him, say, I'm looking at it right here,
right.
Then, it goes through. But, yeah they're good.
Yeah, that's...
So if you're using a third-party pay vendor, use PayPal. PayPal does not sponsor this portion of the show.
Let's talk about ransomware. Well, I don't know. Do you want to do the Bitcoin blockchain?
No, you know what? I want to save that. I didn't. The things that you were dropping, I didn't actually look over too much because I thought we were going to save that for future shows, not this show. That was my bad.
Oh,
I am ill prepared.
Okay, well,
but we did get a listener suggestion.
Consider that. Consider this a preview of what we'll have on next week. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we did get a listener suggestion who would like to understand cryptocurrency, blockchain, and everything involved with that. So we're going to start, like we did with the APTs early on, we're going to start giving you information, to help you to navigate those and become well-versed on what they mean.
Absolutely.
Because blockchain is going to be used in everything in the future.
Yeah.
So, if you hear some of the rumors out there now that all the ballots were encoded with blockchain, no, they weren't. But they can be really easily, and it would be a fantastic security measure, and they probably will be in the future.
Yeah, they are blockchaining a lot of information for security reasons. I think
it's also good authentication for documentation too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the signing and transferring documents is really big too on blockchain. All right, so on the blockchain.
While we're on the topic of the election and everything, you want to talk about the Kraken botnet?
Yeah, let's release the Kraken.
Let's release the Kraken.
Right, so as these things go, especially in politics, which is probably top of mind with most people, 70 to 80% of people are thinking a lot about it. Not pretty hard. Pretty hard and a lot about it. So
overthinking, some might say.
Overthinking, definitely. And I've seen quite a bit on Twitter and, of course, went looking for it because I noticed it. So there's a lot of talk about Sidney Powell said she was going to release the Kraken on the cheaters. And that, I guess people Googling and they found the Kraken botnet. But
yeah, a lot of people read this article and without really knowing, I mean, because the one we're referencing is an article by FireEye. And, Kraken botnet was really a significant threat in 2008.
Yeah, it was the botnet to beat all botnets in 2008. And came back in 2010 a little bit stronger and not a word about it since then.
Right. Yeah, this is, I mean, people were talking about, this is our little bit to debunk. People were talking about the Kraken botnet the way that we talked about TrickBot a couple weeks ago and other ones. This botnet was, really the shit and very, very sneaky, but, it hasn't been used in a decade. But wait, couldn't they use it again? The size of this botnet was laughably small. Would be laughably small today.
They're not
back then when you were talking about a couple, tens of thousands of computers, that was a major international threat. Now that's like
it's nothing. So I mean, you build a botnet through devices. So they weren't really, 2008 wasn't the year of IoT or anything. So the devices were computers and networks, websites, web servers, whatever they could get their greasy little selves into. I didn't mean that personally towards them. But anyway, that wasn't a personal thing. But at any rate, those computers that were on networks that were networked in 2008, kind of doubt they're still there. I
saw the data dump of one of the specs on the computer, and it's a lot of it's hashed out and redacted, but it's Intel Pentium
R.
1R, rights reserved. And I'm guessing this would be in the 1 gigahertz range, maybe 2. Yeah, if these are still on, if this botnet is still out there, it's probably sitting on some UO clone shard server. It's not, it's running a point of sale for some porn shop in Topeka, Kansas. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it did pop up on Twitter. It made quite the round of, this must be what Sydney's talking about. No, this is not what she's talking about.
Right. Somebody attached the FireEye thing to it, and I was like, has nobody noticed that this is like, it's right there, and y'all are still talking about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8th word is April 17th, 2008.
Yeah. So, it's that kind of thing where you see a really good story that totally proves your point, and then you see the data and you go, crap.
Yeah, exactly.
So
debunked. But no, this was an absolutely real botnet. It was absolutely a threat when it was around. It was totally badass. I mean, I think they started with 400,000 bots and came back a few years later with 250,000 more. 2 years later, 250,000. That slow growth in and of itself makes it not impressive compared to, but not close to impressive compared to botnet.
Barely enough to trigger a DDoS warning now.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, that's just it's just not catching any like international spy ring or anything like that. That's for sure. So they sent a lot of spam. They did a lot of spamming.
They did a lot of spam. I mean, you look back at 2008. That wasn't the year of IoT, but that was definitely the year of spam. And what did they say? It was sending out nearly 9 million spam messages a day.
Yeah.
I think, something like that. Some ridiculous amount of spam.
That's real close.
Which, again, that was ridiculous in 2008. Now it probably wouldn't even raise a spam filter.
Right. Yeah, true. And, speaking of which, they did change the protocols between 2008 and 2010. They, the RSACon featured the botnet, and they changed a lot of their programming because of it.
Yeah, they changed the ports, the TCP ports of what their CNC servers used, and I mean they were pretty agile at the time, but still shutting down your botnet for 5 days to change your TCP port. That's skids can do that now in less time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's a lot more knowledge than. So they're not using this technology. They're not at this point in time to hurt anybody or catch anybody or really find much of anything out. They could probably still spam with it. Sure, maybe.
Yeah, you could do I mean, if they were using it today, you could probably do a moderately successful phishing.
Yeah. They could definitely be using what connections might be left, to do something. Have made other connections. Sure.
And apparently we have a bunch of porn shop owners in Topeka, Kansas in our chat who are suddenly worried.
Right. I bet they are. You're very focused on Topeka tonight, too. There's got to be something to that.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
All roads go through Topeka. Even the Oregon Trail. Yeah, GR, when they said release the Kraken, they're probably referencing the Clash of the Titans and not actual code name for something. I have an 80% confidence on that.
Yeah. I'd say I'm right at about 80, if not a little higher.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Release the Kraken, for being Clash of the Titans, that is quite the metaphor.
I'd say so, but I mean, Sydney's a lawyer, so she's got lots of words in her head.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, lawyers are nothing without their words. So.
Super Mario or Zoom?
Well, let's talk about Zoom then.
Okay. Zoom, finally, after the entire COVID of this, figured out to put an at-risk meeting notifier for zombie bombs and Zoom bomb raids. And, it just...
Well, that was nice of them.
That only took them 8 steady months of the entire world having to use them. Where they figured this out.
Well, but it's like way late, which is very typical Zoom, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and this is how you know that culturally they're Chinese, because they just don't. They're like bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is definitely designed by committee.
Right. There you go. Exactly.
Where, it's an agile programming platform, like we were talking about before the show. You had to do a Discord update, and it took a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rarely get to see the their little joke that they put in at the beginning of the launch. Whenever there's an update or, you're launching, they'll always have a joke. Like, for instance, did you know Discord was originally supposed to be named Griffin? I found that out the other day as I was having internet troubles and couldn't connect. But, so, Discord, very agile. There's a problem, they fix it real quick. Zoom, we're at 8 months, and they finally figured out how to warn of a potential Zoom bombing?
I think they just didn't care.
They really didn't fucking care.
They didn't care.
They never fixed their holes to begin with until they got,
well,
we're going to ban Zoom in the United States. Shit, we better fix that.
And it just, it's proof that if you are slick enough, that you can be like the shittiest product on earth. If you're slick enough. All you got to be is slick. Right? Because Zoom was pretty, for conferencing, it's pretty slick.
Sure. It's like I said, I had to do my first real Zoom meeting a few weeks ago, and I thought, well, this is kind of cool, but, you'd think by now, and this again goes with agility, the popularity of Zoom, but its myriad, various and sundry problems, you would think Skype or Discord or another company could have hammered it because they already had 80% of it there. The thing that they don't have is the, balloon out like Zoom has, where, you have your tiles of screens of the different attendees. But, you think that they would have jumped on that by now and just said, you don't need Zoom and its security risks. Here's Skype Business or here's Skype Group. Or, I know Discord was given a break on classrooms for a while, trying to get people to use it. And, that was good. But...
I don't understand why there hasn't been something to step up either. And but what bothers me about it is that I believe it's probably because they're just security flaws.
Just security flaws.
Just security flaws. It's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. It's a bigger deal because it's a security flaw. But I don't understand why people don't see that.
And here's the thing: is that Zoom actually this is what their steps taken to for preventing Zoom bombing, began enforcing meeting passwords and added report participant buttons. This is like recently.
Huh.
This is their new way of combating something that Twitter has done for 10 years.
Right. Silly.
Yeah, and I forgot about this story. Was that the Department of Justice did threaten to prosecute Zoom bombers back in April, but it never actually stopped.
Yeah, it never stopped because we've heard about them recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's not like You see, it really would have come in handy for like that Tubin situation.
Yeah, I'd have reported him in a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah. They might have actually taken his account.
Zoom and their infinite failure and way to drag down the curve.
Yep. That's something they're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commercial?
Uh-huh.
It's the time.
Yeah, it's...
All
right, so now we have the, chill music.
Yeah, now we have the chill music, and then we come back and we talk about the really scary shit.
Right.
And Super Mario.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mix with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Okay.
Alrighty, we're back, and our discussion about what we're doing next is done.
Yeah.
So, alright. Ransomware gangs are partnering with hackers. Well, that sounds odd. Aren't ransomware gangs hackers? I guess they're not.
Well, this is a little different. See, now what they're doing, and this is just so much fun. We've talked about it a couple times where ransomware as a service is starting to become a thing, kind of like Windows as a service or Office as a service, where, you know, they really don't care who they're going after. You just hire them out. You say, hey, I want a ransomware, you know, Bob's Porn Shop in Topeka, Kansas. And so, you know, they, and then they go, okay, that'll be X amount of dollars. So, what this is doing now is this is kind of a, almost a multi-level marketing for ransomware gangs where, the, ransomware developers, those who make the ransomware, get a 20 to 30% cut, and the affiliate, which is what they're calling the conglomerate of ransomware gangs, get 70 to 80% of the payment of the ransom payments that they generate.
So much like being an Amazon affiliate, where
right.
where you sell Amazon products on your website or however you sell them, you are using their ransomware to attack whoever. And whatever you make, you get a big chunk of it. But they don't have to, they don't have to do anything but provide you with the ransomware and they're getting a chunk of it too. It's really somewhat traditional and good.
This is kind of like, this is old school, like organized crime, where you go and do the job, and somebody pays crime boss to do this thing, and you are the perpetrator of the crime. You get a cut, but the crime boss gets the take.
Yeah, it's a very, very sophisticated criminal enterprise, without a doubt. Without a doubt, and we've talked about, I don't know how many times, and I believe I may have even said the words ransomware as a service.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
And a lot of the top tier crews who are part of this now, you've heard us talk about before: Doppelpaymer, Revel, Sodiki, goddamn, I can't pronounce that. It's Japanese. Fuck it. Netwalker, Ryuk. These are all the top tier gangs.
Uh-huh.
And then you have lower tier gangs like Suncrypt, Ragnarlocker. These are the tier 2s, and then it goes down into what we talked about earlier, those who don't have a resume, or who are trying to get fly their fame fag flag, and those are the tier 3s. And you get to use your tools and you do your thing, and yeah. So
fun. Yeah, but I mean, it's a smart and often used business model. So
yeah, it's been very popular in organized crime. Now it's finding its way into cybercrime.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole system, this came out according to a cybersecurity group called Intel 471. And yeah, I mean, ransomware as a service, it's been around since 2017, and but it's really starting to become solidifying itself into a major thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but that's really, I mean, this second tier and the recruiting that they're doing for it and the way that they're doing it it really shouldn't be a surprise. But, I mean, this is news. Not that this isn't news. It certainly is. But it's kind of like news that the inevitable happened. Right?
Yeah, and, it's kind of funny. Is looking at the tier rankings on them, too. Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like a scoreboard, because when you look at the breakdown, you've got the name of the organization, the date they were discovered, the number of claims that they have under their attack claims they have under their belt, whether they, what markets they sell their information in, and if they actually have a leak blog. So it's kind of like, when you're looking at, it looks kind of like the back of old Topps baseball cards. Runs, hits, errors, all that. That's what it kind of reminded me of when I saw that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's amazing how many of them do have a leak blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of the top tier, first and second tier ones do.
Right.
Of course they do. I mean, that's how they, anyway.
No, yeah, I hear you. Okay, so we've got some Iranian hackers to talk about too, don't we?
This is actually, this goes beyond that. This is kind of a big deal. What we've got going on with this is DarkSide Ransomware. They are announcing that they are moving their CNC hosting and their general hosting to Iran hosting services. And what makes this interesting is that, as we've talked about when it comes to paying ransomware, there are now ransomware negotiation firms. One of them is like Coveware, and there's a few others that will, negotiate your ransom so you can unlock your computers and, that. But they have been informed by the government that any negotiation with ransomware groups that operate out of Iran, they will be in violation of U.S. sanctions. And this notice came out from the U.S. Treasury Department, Office of Foreign Asset Control.
So, the thing about that is that we don't just hold our citizens accountable for negotiating or making deals or doing business with sanctioned countries and militaries, but our allies to some extent as well. Certainly don't prosecute them, but we kind of hold it over their heads that they've done that and make a big deal out of it. So, and this is the reason that this is a big deal on many levels, is that a ransomware gang, and we've talked a lot about how much their espionage they're doing with ransomware, more and more. We talked about that going back a couple of months, I think. So, a ransomware gang is building an infrastructure in Iran, which means that there's a redundancy that's going to be there. Whatever data they steal is maintained in perpetuity. We'd have to take the whole infrastructure out.
Right.
And
it's not like we've talked about where they've taken down, there would be a coordinated effort between corporations and government to take down a botnet.
Right.
This is behind the oil curtain.
Right, and exactly. And this is espionage focused ransomware gang going into business with the Iranian government, because it's not like here. The government owns everything in Iran, like China. So, it's not even as free as Russia. So, in effect, a really aggressive ransomware, Iran just basically hired themselves. A ransomware gang.
Yeah, and we've talked about the difference in Iranian APTs, where some of them are part of the, they're part of the, they're the true believers in the Iranian government, and some of them are just hackers for hire. But if they're moving their infrastructure to Iranian servers, they are going to become, they're going to become de facto, hackers for hire. APT for hire.
Yeah, well, they'll definitely share their tools. I imagine that they had to agree to share their tools, if not
right. So, and it's Dark Side is they are well known for several attacks that they have made. But I just thought it was interesting that it wasn't CISA, it wasn't Cyber, it wasn't anybody else who, again, when we talk about the analogies between old world organized crime and new cyber crime, this was a statement that came out from Treasury. Kind of like how it was Treasury that got Al Capone. So, I don't want to say that it's shitty that they are threatening to go after people who are just, who are basically hostages. Their computers are being held hostage, and dealing with a negotiator. But on the other hand, we've talked about it to where this isn't going to end until they start making payments, until they stop making payments, until you stop paying ransomware. Ransomware will always be a lucrative form of crime, cybercrime. And that's what makes it hardest to stop. They can shut down all the botnets they want. As long as people are paying the ransom, then it's going to be out there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bad situation all around, right? Because now people have to think about it when they're negotiating. They have to, we have to worry about Iran and this group and the tools that they're going to get and how much are they going to use them. I mean, you know, they're not living in Iran, but Iran has their servers. They have their own army. I mean, they can't have an army big enough to guard it from the Iranian military.
Right.
So, I mean, so they have to do what... They're protected, but they have to do what Iran wants them to do, and that's not a good situation for anybody. So yeah, that's a shitty situation.
Yeah, and the bulk of this too was Coveware, which was like I said, they're one of the intermediaries who pay the ransomware, who negotiate with to get the ransomware lifted. They've blacklisted. Or they put DarkSide on their restricted list, which means that they won't negotiate with them. So it's kind of like, okay, I mean, it's good that they're being that proactive. Again, this is what we've talked about. The only stopping this is to be proactive, not reactive. So knowing that Coveware at least will not be negotiating with DarkSide, then that either emboldens DarkSide or makes them realize that we're losing an avenue for payment here.
Huh, that's a good point, because they are, I mean, we've said it a bunch, they're a business. They're a criminal business, but they're a business.
One of the things that we've talked about over the last few years is we've talked about it, but that has occurred over the last few years with the current administration, is not just the hardening of our own cyber infrastructure, is the isolation of Iran. And their inability to be able, their avenues of being able to do business. So this step, and this just occurred to me while we were talking this out, this step is another way to isolate out Iran to where even organized cybercrime is going to have to go, if we move to Iranian servers, then it's going to be harder for us to get ransom. Because nobody's going to want the sanctions and fine. Nobody's going to want to violate the sanctions and pay the fines that are associated with essentially doing business with Iran.
Yeah, business dries up.
Yeah. So, like I said, it just occurred to me while we were talking it out. I said that's actually kind of fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is. All right, so tell me what Mario did.
Mario. Okay, this is our palate cleanser. After giving the, oh my God, all of your data belong to them. The new Super Mario game and watch that's coming out. It doesn't officially launch. Actually, did it already launch? Is it tomorrow? No, it launched last week. Okay. It's been hacked already. And, there's a lot of good news about it. I mean, basically, it's just the old Super Mario game, which is kind of awesome. We've seen this out in handhelds time and time again, but the new one, it's pretty awesome for, a small size Nintendo product, but it's already been hacked. I mean, some people got their hands on it early. And they took it apart to see how it ticks. And one of the good news is that it just dumps the Super Mario ROM straight into RAM. So it's basically, for all intents and purposes, is a handheld NES or watch-based NES that you can take with you, which is pretty cool. They did find, though, that it is pretty easy to hack. Which, I mean, is good because, like I said, if you can get your hand on some old 8-bit NES ROMs and emulate them to your computer or emulate them to a device, and then you can dump them in, you can turn this Super Mario's thing into anything that uses your standard 4-directional A-B controller from the NES days. But this hack also, you can fix a bug that has been shipped out with this that Nintendo knows about, and that is there is a language bug that even though everything is the ones that most people got their hands on is localized in English, you can select your other language, but there's this part of it where there's the Mario song or in some it's some part of the game that if you had it in English, the song would be in English, but the subtitles could be in French or in any of the other localized languages that are programmed into it. With this hack that was discovered, you can actually fix that. So, it's kind of like, oh, hey, here's this thing where we've totally figured out how to break your product and fix it simultaneously.
Yeah, well, the dude was live tweeting it as he was doing it.
Yeah. Stack Smashing Twitter account. He was live tweeting his hack of the product, and so. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. I like the fact that if you hack this and you can get your hands on any ROMs from old 8-bit Nintendo, you can load them into the RAM on this, and now all of a sudden you have a watch that plays Castlevania or one of the early Final Fantasies or something. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. That's super cool.
So that was the palate cleanser. That was to make you realize not everything in 2020 sucks.
Right, exactly.
No, the Mario news doesn't circle back to Topeka, Sharko. We left that one at the break.
I forgot about Topeka. I just totally forgot about it. I think it was the Iranian thing, which just blows my mind that, it doesn't surprise me. It's just like, they really just did they issue a press release or what? Like,
what? Who? Darkseid?
Well, just in general, that's not a serious question. It's just to say, like, this was it was a media event. They're like,
it kind of was. Darkseid announced on their tour that they were going to be moving to secure servers in Iran. Then Treasury Department made their announcement that anybody paying ransomware to companies crime syndicates operating out of Iran will face sanctions. So ransomware intermediary goes, well, we're just going to have to blacklist Darkseid. So it's just kind of like this whole it was just logical progression.
Yeah.
Of the way things. But again, responsiveness of government and the seriousness of which government is taking this now. Is we didn't have this a few years ago.
Right.
I mean, granted, we didn't have a lot of the cybercrime a few years ago either, but the seriousness with which the current administration takes cybercrime, I mean, even with the funding that it's given CISA and the mandate of Executive Order, God, I can't even remember the number, to harden the power grid against cyber attack.
Yeah, something has been done. Anything would have been more than 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, anything would. It's all you heard. The word that you heard the most often was crumbling. Yeah, which is not
infrastructure and crumbling. Yes,
right.
On many fronts.
Yeah,
I mean, we pull our hair out now at the level of cybercrime. And why do you patch your shit? And why do you keep doing this? But 4 or 5 years ago, this show would have been like back when we were talking about Zoom at the beginning of the COVID.
Right.
And it's like, could you unfuck your program, please? That was everything 4 or 5 years ago when it came to the internet. Is could you unfuck this, please?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So much works now. Right. So it's many more things work than don't work. wasn't the case in the beginning of the internet. It wasn't the case for years after the beginning of the internet.
Right. Yeah, and Jeff just did the Zoom flashback.
Yeah. Not my
and
favorite
Zoom is
thing.
still fucked.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got slapped. We've talked about them getting slapped by the SEC, I think, or the FTC.
Yeah, both, I think.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, so,
it may have been both. I don't remember.
Yes.
But they got slapped, and I was glad to hear that. They just don't take it seriously.
So, I mean, my take, and Jeff and I have talked about this off air, and, you know, I know you and I have talked about it off air, and we've talked about it on air, too. Say what you will about the current administration. It has done wonders for STEM. Between the space program, cyber security, cyber infrastructure, just, you know, for somebody who doesn't know anything about science, STEM is doing pretty goddamn well the last few years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely better. The infrastructure is better. The programs are better. You can't really deny it. The policy is better.
Right. So.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
We can close. We can close with that.
Yeah, my board is clear.
My board's clear.
Yeah. And Jeff, that Zoom article you dropped on us last week, that was unfortunately in a thread that was hijacked by a Yang Gang shitty memester. Probably the worst memester on the planet, and he's so proud. I couldn't find it. It got buried under a whole bunch, 4 days of shit memes. So I was looking for it today, and it wasn't there.
I muted that conversation like 3 Yangs in, and I never unmuted it. So whatever fun you guys had with those guys, I wasn't in on it.
Oh, there's just one of them. He's really proud of his Facebook shit tier memes.
Yeah, I saw some of the memes. Alrighty.
Oh, yeah. They gave me autism.
Yeah, right. It made me dumber looking at it too.
Right.
So we appreciate y'all tuning in again.
Where can people find it this week, Lou?
I won't be talking again until I see you next Monday. But you should catch Aggie Tuesday and the Red Wine Wednesday at 9 because they're awesome.
They are.
And I'll be producing.
You know, you always find your way to talk during those shows.
Every now and then. What about you, Ordy?
Well, once again, I'll be filling in for Dan on Robinson and Wright as he is still essential. Then Thursday, I will be doing Culture Shift with Brad. I'm sure we're going to be talking about Anita Sarkeesian and her Mandalorian women with boob armor. That's a given. So
that was so dumb.
Yeah. JC, we told you it was a light night. There wasn't much to talk about in the cyber world this week. Usually, he talked about usually we have an extra 20 minutes of bonus content.
Yeah, I know, but you got to go to bed this time. Just
this time y'all got to go to bed. Save up your energy for more Twitter fuckery.
Yeah,
or don't.
Get an extra 20 minutes of sleep and thank us in the morning.
Right.
All right. We appreciate it, y'all.
We really do.
We love you very much. And stay safe out there, you know. Avoid the lockdowns.
You're unbelievable.